About a month ago, I put out a fun video where I predicted who I believe will be the 10 best NBA players 5 years from now in the year 2030, and it got me thinking, what does a completely unbiased source think about this topic? Human error, inherent bias, and natural-born fandom affects every living, breathing human when it comes to sports, so I turned to ChatGPT, and I asked it to predict who the 10 best NBA players will be in the year 2030, and the results it gave me were interesting to say the least. It's a fun test to see how technology like this analyzes all of the data available on a topic like this, and as we're going to see in the video, there are certain aspects that it does pretty well, and others that definitely need some work. But in general, this was a pretty fun experiment to run. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Along with the top 10 players, ChatGPT also gave me 5 honorable mentions that it thinks will just miss the cut on this list, and the players it labeled as just outside of the top 10 in this grouping were Giannis Antetokounmpo, Tyrese Halliburton, Zion Williamson, Chet Holmgren, and Cam Boozer. We're off to a pretty hot start here, and to be completely honest, this section is impressive for what is completely subjective. Giannis Antetokounmpo is easily a player that ChatGPT could have just stuck in the top 10, as he is currently an MVP candidate that has dominated the league for years, but it actually used some rational analysis to keep him just shy, as he is definitely going to be past his prime when he's 35 years old in 2030, and as a player who very much relies on his dominant physicality and athleticism, those are things that typically fade in your mid-30s. Tyrese Halliburton is also once again red hot in the playoffs, leading his Pacers on an improbable run, and is one of the best passers in the game, so I have no problem seeing him here. Chet Holmgren is definitely someone I see the appeal in as an elite defensive big man that capably spaces the floor out to the three-point line, and even though I personally wouldn't predict him to be this high on a rankings list, I don't hate the idea of it. Zion Williamson obviously has all of the talent in the world, but the likelihood of him staying healthy enough to hit his ceiling is unlikely, which ChatGPT did admittedly acknowledge. And then the nod to Cam Boozer impressed me the most, because he's one of the most talented prospects expected to be in the draft class of 2026 next year, and even though I am personally higher on guys like Darren Peterson and AJ Debonsa from his class, I respect the way it actually used some predictive measures with the pick and didn't take the lazy way out, naming another current top talent in today's NBA that may not be around in 5 years. Now, to start off the ChatGPT top 10 list, going from 10 and working our way up to their number 1 spot, the player that snuck in for them at number 10 is Aean Thompson of the Houston Rockets, and their explanation for it was that he is, quote, an athletic marvel with defensive upside and improving playmaking. If the shot develops, he'll be a nightmare to guard. I really couldn't say it better if I tried. Aean Thompson's second season in the NBA this year flashed unreal potential and is genuinely one of the best perimeter defenders already. His natural athletic gifts as a ridiculously fast and bouncy player are second to none. He's an outstanding finisher around the rim and a smart passer too. He gave Steph Curry hell in the playoffs and will be a perennial all-defense member for years to come. But the one thing holding him back is exactly what they said. His jumper needs a lot of work as a 27% shooter from deep this year. If he can become even league average from 3, he could absolutely crack the top 10 in his prime. But if not, he'll be an incredible two-way player regardless. Next at number 9, ChatGPT went with Jayson Tatum of the Boston Celtics, with their reasoning being, if his body holds up, Tatum's skill set and scoring will still make him one of the league's elite forwards. This is also right around the range that I would predict Tatum to be in 5 years' time, but admittedly, their little explanation doesn't really make much sense, so I'm less of a fan of this one than the one they gave for Thompson. Tatum's never really been an injury-prone player, so bringing up whether or not his body will be able to hold up at age 32 in a time where top players succeed well into their 30s nowadays felt pretty unnecessary, but obviously Tatum's work as a scorer should continue to thrive over time. Next at number 8, ChatGPT went with Cooper Flagg, who is about to be the number 1 pick in this year's draft, and their reasoning was that he is, quote, a highly anticipated two-way prospect. By 2030, he could be an all-NBA wing if he reaches his ceiling. Direct and to the point from them here, no crazy analysis, but also not necessarily wrong. Cooper Flagg is unquestionably the number 1 prospect in this year's draft, and whoever lands the number 1 pick in the draft is getting an absolute stud. His fiery competitive drive is on display every night, and he's willing to do the dirty work that doesn't show up in the box scores, which is pretty rare for a top talent nowadays. So with a work ethic like that, I'm willing to bank on his success any day, and it's why I also had Flagg in my top 10 prediction list from a month ago. He may not even be in the NBA yet, but AI technology is still capable of scoping out projections placed on him and accurately comprehending just how good he is expected to be. Next at number 7, ChatGPT went with Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers, saying, quote, his defense is already elite, and if his offensive game develops further, he could be the best two-way big man not named Wemby. After several impressive predictions in a row, this is the first big-time reach that I don't think I can accept. I'm not here to say that Mobley isn't a very good player by any means, as he just won the Defensive Player of the Year award and improved a ton on the offensive end this season, but even with stark improvement offensively, he still only put up 18.5 points per game. He's now a serviceable floor-spacing, spot-up shooter, hitting 37% of his threes, and he's more assertive in general, scoring in the paint, but to be a top 10 player, and to especially be a player ranked as high as number 7, you really need to be amongst the elite, putting up numbers, and Mobley's ceiling is realistically as a third option on offense. He provides winning impact and is one of the best defenders in the game, but he's not nearly skilled enough to justify placing this high, nor has he shown enough to truly believe he can develop into all of that much in 5 years. Next at number 6, ChatGPT went with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder, saying he is, quote, already an all-NBA talent, SGA's game is built to age well. He'll likely still be a top-tier scorer and playmaker. Well, in terms of their rationale, they hit the nail right on the head, because Shai is starting to emerge as a potential all-time great, and took home the league's MVP award this year, establishing himself in a very elite club that few others have ever joined. So to me, it was somewhat surprising that they only ranked him at 6. Sure, a lot can change in 5 years, but SGA will only be 31 years old in the year 2030, and his game is hardly reliant on overwhelming athleticism, so I don't see him slowing down much by then. His change of pace, use of fakes and body feints, and unrivaled pull-up jumper are skills that will stay with him for a long time. So while the AI did well enough including him on this list, I think we're about to see some pretty bold predictions regarding who it ranked above him. That brings us to number 5, where ChatGPT has Paulo Bancero of the Orlando Magic, saying he is, quote, a versatile offensive engine who can score, create, and defend. He'll likely be the centerpiece of a contending team. I don't think I necessarily disagree with the overall sentiment from their explanation, I just think that AI is overrating him a little bit. I just can't see there being a scenario where Bancero is ever a better player than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and as we start to finish off this list in this video, you will all come to realize there are a few very notable names missing, and it's hard to buy into Bancero being better than them as well. Right now, he's led the Magic to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons as their leading scorer, and there is no doubt about him being a special scoring talent as a 26-point-per-game guy, comfortable operating off the dribble, out-muscling most defenders that try to guard him, but through 3 seasons, he has yet to even be a league-average 3-point shooter, and the versatility mentioned by ChatGPT might be a bit overstated. Now at number 4, ChatGPT went with Scoot Henderson of the Portland Trail Blazers, saying, quote, with his physical tools and relentless mentality, Scoot could evolve into a dominant point guard akin to Derrick Rose with more playmaking. Okay, we have officially reached the first massive whiff of the day, proving that ChatGPT is still a ways away from replacing actual human beings in the world of sporting analysis. Putting Scoot Henderson at number 4 in a predictive list like this may have made sense 3 years ago when he was still a draft prospect, but it's almost as though the AI has completely ignored his actual NBA career and just spit out a line from one of his pre-draft scouting reports. Yes, Henderson was expected to be a Derrick Rose-esque explosive point guard when he was drafted, but after 2 years in the league, it has become clear that we have to scale back our expectations of him exponentially, as he can't even secure his team's starting point guard job yet. Scoot Henderson belongs nowhere near a conversation like this, and even at his best case scenario in 5 years, it's probably becoming a fringe all-star, and I'm talking about at absolute best. Next up at number 3, ChatGPT went with Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves, saying, quote, "With his elite athleticism and growing leadership, Ant could be the league's most explosive scorer and a perennial MVP candidate. We've made it to the top 3 where I believe things start to look back on track. Edwards gets better and better every year. He's incredibly entertaining both on and off the floor. He's showing that he has the killer instinct where he's not afraid of anybody and has gone at some all-time greats in the playoffs and taken them down already. And I see no reason why he shouldn't be the best shooting guard in the NBA in 5 years when he's 28 years old in the middle of his prime. Ant is the true definition of a 3-level scorer, becoming an elite volume 3-point shooter this year while also still being able to get to the rim at will. His scoring numbers have gone up every year of his 5-year career, and being in the top 5 is very achievable for him." Next, ChatGPT believes that Luka Doncic of the Los Angeles Lakers is going to be the second best player in the league in 5 years, saying, quote, "Even if he loses a step athletically, his elite skill, IQ, and scoring will keep him at the top of the league. Luka is going to be 31 years old in the year 2030, and lucky for him, his game isn't really reliant on athleticism at all. He's been one of the most productive players in the NBA from the second that he stepped on the court as a rookie, and nobody has put up the numbers that he has at his age, so there's no reason to doubt his ability to continue being a walking triple-double threat. It's funny that ChatGPT included the bit about losing a step athletically based on all of the talk about his fitness levels and how he's put on some weight, and it is a valid concern, but I still wholeheartedly believe Luka will be one of the best players in the league in the year 2030 and have no problems with him being here at number 2. And finally, the player that ChatGPT believes will be the top dog in the year 2030 is Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs, saying, quote, "Already showing generational two-way potential. By 2030, he could be a multiple-time MVP, redefining what a big man can do." Victor Wembanyama has been one of the most hyped-up prospects the league has ever seen, and through 2 seasons, he's been doing things we've never really seen before from someone his size. So it comes as no surprise that an AI engine is going to pick up on that, and I couldn't agree more, so I have no qualms with it. Wemby had a bit of a health scare this year that resulted in him being shut down after the All-Star game, but it isn't expected to affect him long-term, and as long as he continues on the path that he's on, he will be a multiple-time winner of the Defensive Player of the Year award, who at minimum will be a 25-point scorer year in and year out. To lock up the number 1 spot, he'll probably need to be an NBA champion by then and maybe a little bit better of a scorer, but he'll certainly be in the mix regardless. So, to conclude, what did we learn from this experiment? I think I learned that these AI tools do an alright job comprehending topics and formulating answers based on data and prediction from all of the outlets available online, but they still don't come close to what an actual person can provide. All of the excerpts and bits of rationale behind each selection were incredibly basic, it felt as robotic as it literally is, and the Scoot Henderson's inclusion proves that there are still some glaring oversights and errors in how it goes about formulating these responses. The world is always panicking about AI replacing people in every aspect of life, but at least for now, I think the world of sports analysis is safe. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about ChatGPT's list. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.